This stop is Roosevelt Avenue and Union Street. Next stop, Roosevelt Avenue and Bound Street. This stop is Roosevelt Avenue and Bound Street. Next stop, Bound Street and 41st Avenue. This stop is Bound Street and 41st Avenue. Next stop, Sanford Avenue and 147th Street. This stop is Sanford Avenue and 147th Street. Next stop, Sanford Avenue and 149th Street. This stop is Sanford Avenue and 149th Street. Next stop, Sanford Avenue and 156th Street. This stop is Sanford Avenue and 156th Street. Next stop, Sanford Avenue and 158th Street. This stop is Sanford Avenue and 158th Street. Next stop, Sanford Avenue and 162nd Street. This stop is Sanford Avenue and 162nd Street. Next stop, Sanford Avenue and 165th Street. This stop is Sanford Avenue and 165th Street. Next stop, Northern Boulevard and 168th Street. Transfer available to Q13. This stop is Northern Boulevard and 168th Street. Next stop, Northern Boulevard and 171st Street. This stop is Northern Boulevard and 171st Street. Next stop, Northern Boulevard and Utopia Parkway. This stop is Northern Boulevard and Utopia Parkway. Next stop, Northern Boulevard and 192nd Street. This stop is Northern Boulevard and 192nd Street. Next stop, Northern Boulevard and 194th Street. This stop is Northern Boulevard and 194th Street. Next stop, Northern Boulevard and Francis Lewis Boulevard. This stop is Northern Boulevard and Francis Lewis Boulevard. Next stop, Northern Boulevard and 202nd Street. This stop is Northern Boulevard and 202nd Street. Next stop, Northern Boulevard and 204th Street. This stop is Northern Boulevard and 204th Street. Next stop, Northern Boulevard and Clearview Expressway. This stop is Northern Boulevard and Clearview Expressway. Next stop, Northern Boulevard and Corporal Kennedy Street. This stop is Northern Boulevard and Corporal Kennedy Street. Next stop, Northern Boulevard and 211th Street. This stop is Northern Boulevard and 211th Street. Next stop, Northern Boulevard and 215th Street. This stop is Northern Boulevard and 215th Street. Next stop, Northern Boulevard and 217th Street. This stop is Northern Boulevard and 217th Street. Next stop, Northern Boulevard and Springfield Boulevard. This stop is Northern Boulevard and Springfield Boulevard. Next stop, Northern Boulevard and 220th Place. This stop is Northern Boulevard and 220th Place. Next stop, Northern Boulevard and 223rd Street. This stop is Northern Boulevard and 223rd Street. Next stop, Northern Boulevard and Alley Pond Environmental Center. This stop is Northern Boulevard and Alley Pond Environmental Center. Next stop, Northern Boulevard and 232nd Street. This stop is Northern Boulevard and 232nd Street. Next stop, Northern Boulevard and Alameda Avenue. This stop is Northern Boulevard and Alameda Avenue. Next stop, Northern Boulevard and 243rd Street. This stop is Northern Boulevard and 243rd Street. Next stop, Northern Boulevard and 244th Street. This stop is Northern Boulevard and 244th Street. Next stop, Northern Boulevard and Marathon Parkway. This stop is Northern Boulevard and Marathon Parkway. Next stop, Northern Boulevard and Browville Lane. This stop is Northern Boulevard and Browville Lane. Next stop, Pembroke Avenue and Glennwood Street. This stop is Pembroke Avenue and Glennwood Street. This is Q12 to Little Neck Glennwood. A fare is required to ride.